Hey YouTube, Eventual Echo here. Just wanted to make a video commenting on some of the current news in Australia. And I was reading this article about migration into Australia and the housing unaffordability and the rents going out of control and people not being able to find a place to live and people living out of their cars and things like that. So I just wanted to weigh in and give my thought. Now I'm not affected because I own a property, and so I'm not competing with others to try and get one. But I can understand where the stress and frustration is. Basically, Chris Richardson, this independent economist, he said that we need to stem the flow of the number of migrants that come into Australia in order to make housing more affordable. And you know what? I was thinking about it, and as much as it sucks to say, you never want to be the person to say, oh yeah, there's too many migrants coming into the country. I actually agree with him. I think it would help the affordability of real estate. After reading this article, and seeing that 500,000 people came into the country between 2022 2023, I thought to myself, well, how many houses are being built for those people to live in? Because I've been saying for years that Australia's not building enough houses. So I looked it up on the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and we only built 40,000 houses last year. Well, it's commencements, right? So if they're commencing, then it's going to need to be finished. And they're actually builders going out of business at the moment with the rising costs and things like that. So we're actually building less houses. So I thought, okay, if we're starting 40,000 dwellings and we've got 500,000 people coming in, how many people are going to be per dwelling? And I looked it up. That means, for each dwelling, and a dwelling can be a house, but it can also be like a one-bedroom apartment. It's just a dwelling for people to live. You're going to have to put 12 people in each of those dwellings, and as we know, people don't want to live like that. People want to live, maximum, I would say 4 to a two-bedroom apartment, maybe 5, but that really starts to push it. And look, the guy is right. Unless and I'm not saying we need to slow down migration, we could look at doing things like increasing the number of dwellings. Like I know personally, our family owns real estate in different parts of Australia, and there are pieces of real estate we own where we can't build more than one house on it, even though the block of land is quite big. So councils could do a lot there. I also read a news article in New Zealand a while back where they basically said, blanket rule, you can build multiple dwellings on your property. There's no restrictions about it, and that really boosted the number of properties being built. Whereas I know in Australia, like getting approval on that is really tough. I've got friends who have a property that's going to be about to be finished, but it's going to take them like 3 months to get approval before they're allowed to move into it. So look what this guy's saying. I think it's unpopular, but I think for the short term, it is probably the right answer while we sort out our policies. But I think there's a lot the government can do, especially the councils. I've got a few ideas, as I was saying. Make it so that you can build more dwellings, build taller dwellings, less restrictions for people who own land on what they can and can't build on them. I think would help. Like obviously, you need to have your properties up to standard and stuff like that. But if we're not going to, as a country, build enough properties for people to live in, then yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, the people who are well off, the decision makers at the top, like, they're not the ones that are going to be impacted. They already own their properties, a bit like myself, and they're already living comfortable. They might even have investments or multiple properties, but if you're adding more people than can fit, the people at the bottom of society, the poorest people, the people the least well off, they're going to be living in their cars, living on the streets, homeless, and then not that, but the working class people, the average people, they're going to be competing more and more, for property. When there's more people and less properties, the demand for those property goes up relative to the supply. And like anyone who knows basic economics knows that price is, determined by supply and demand. So yeah, look, what the guy's saying, it's unpopular, but there's some truth to it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd be interested to see what other people, from Australia and around the world think of this policy and this idea. Thanks, guys.